The situation at Spurs is oh so wrong. It's all part of Enoch and Levy's con. A world-class stadium, second-rate team. Spurs are winning nothing under this regime. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Intense are filling the coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. A lack of proper investment is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Intense are filling their coffers to the brim. The football forecast looks so grim. Spurs last cup win in 2008. A lack of proper investment is what true fans hate. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Project Youth, just another Levy feast. Dismantling Spurs history piece by piece. The stadium, just an entertainment hub. No true fan wanted this for our club. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Legendary Bill Nick would turn in his grave if he knew how the owners now behave. Corporate greed and no success. We need to work together to get our club out of this mess. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out. Together we need to shout, Levy and Enoch out.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
How do you doing, everybody? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be on a Saturday night. Smash like, subscribe, hit notification bell, all that good stuff. Guys, welcome. Finally, we got a couple of boys from Change for Tottenham, Billy T and Jay on the show tonight. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat. We will get to them at some point during the show. If you've got any specific questions, you definitely 100% want answers, get your super chats in. I'll make sure those ones get answered. Otherwise, thanks for being here as always. This show is going to be about an hour long max because the boys have got bits to do. They're also family men and we've got them out on a Saturday night, so we don't want to take them too long away from their families. But Jay, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming on. Finally, Jay, how you doing? Good to have you on.
I'm good. Obviously, been a bit of a stressful week, and obviously I'm glad we're getting the opportunity to do it now. We can get these questions answered, we can get through it, and obviously the main thing, come together and get Enoch out. It's what we want.
Mate, you're preaching to the converted. Billy, how you doing, mate? You good?
Yeah, good, man. Excited for what's to come tomorrow. A bit nervous, obviously, as well. Feels like a big moment in the movement. You know, and by the movement, I mean everyone that's been standing there, Stell, yourself on the high road all these years. You know, people like Brian, Billy, you know, goes back years. This feels like a big moment for everyone. And I hope tomorrow we see it converted into something that makes a difference, is all I'm hoping.
Absolutely. Hopefully there is some change at the club at some point. Leave you out, Enoch out. That's my version of change. I know everyone's got their versions. We'll discuss it tonight. Guys in the chat, do try and keep it non-religion based and all that stuff, guys. Otherwise, I just ban you. Keep it football. Do appreciate it. Get trolls. What can we do? So, look, Jay, I'll start with you because I know you wanted to say something before we get going. So I'll let you have your say.
Yeah. Obviously, to all the guys that were supposed to be tuning in Monday and Thursday, and obviously there's a lot of you guys who certainly wanted your questions asked. I'm sorry I wasn't here. Obviously, certain bits, the communication was poor from all parts, mainly myself. So obviously, once again, that side of things, just want to apologise. And tonight, let's get these questions answered. And obviously, tomorrow, I'll make a big day of it.
Absolutely. And like I said, Jay, great to have you on finally. So I'm glad we managed to make this happen. Also, a big up to Brian and Ash for doing their bits as well behind the scene. And also Ricky Sachs had a Zoom chat with him for about 45 minutes on Thursday night. So I do want to give him a shout out as well.
You go back a long time with Brian, don't you, man? He's a great guy. He's someone that's been working on this for years, isn't it, man? I really appreciate everything that he does. And you guys go back quite far, don't you?
So very quickly, because I don't want to make it about me, but I went to school with Brian. Yeah. We were Spurs fans when we were teenagers. Anyway, I went uni. He went off, and he ended up in Canada. I ended up in Brighton, then back in North London. And randomly, about 5-6 years ago, he found me on Facebook. I was slamming Enoch and Levy. I think it was like 2018, 2017. I was going ballistic. And he's like, Stell, is that you from school? I'm like, Brian, yeah, how you doing? And he's like, mate, I can't stand Levy. I said, mate, I'm losing my mind with this. This was before anyone wanted to have the conversation. Like, I think even the protests were tiny, like 5 or 6 people at the protest. I didn't even know protests existed back then.
Yeah.
And then we somehow got together, another 2 people. We started a podcast, and it was geared towards Enoch and Levy out, but nobody wanted to listen back then. No one was interested. It was just a conversation no one wanted to have. And then obviously we ended up protesting. Brian got quite a loud voice on We Are Tottenham TV, because We Are Tottenham TV were the only channel that gave anyone a large platform to have this conversation. No, like I said, boys, nobody wanted to touch this. It was, you're negative, you're toxic, you hate Tottenham if you go against. So it was a bit of a struggle, I guess. But yeah, that's how I know him. And then look, we are where we are now. Let's see what happens. See where Definitely. We are. Look, I'm listen. But egos aside, and he did this first, he did that second.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, and I've said it to many people behind the scenes, because the thing with social media, boys, is there's a lot of lies, there's a lot of gossip. People don't know. They just don't know. I couldn't care less who runs this. I couldn't care less who leads any kind of charge. I couldn't give a damn. As if it gets everyone together and it forces change, boys, job done for me. I really couldn't care less,
And that's something we're really passionate about at Change for Tottenham as well. We don't want to be seen as like the making the decisions and doing this. It's just a platform for people to come together, is all it is. We do some work behind the scenes, but all we rely on is other people and a movement and other fans coming together. People that are Levy out and want change and want Enoch out of our football club. And demand a better football club, and that's all we want to bring together is those people. We're just a platform to bring those people together. It's not about who we are individually and what we do. It's just about everyone coming together. Because I don't know about you guys, but I've never seen this kind of momentum. I've never seen this many people angry at Daniel Levy, and I think it's a real opportunity for us all to come together and demand a better football club, because we deserve it, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Fans have been taking the mick out of for a long time. So we've been very vocal about it. The let's call it the old school protesters. Ticket prices going up. What do we get for it? Merch going up. Fans not really getting the caliber of players they expected with the new stadium being built, and there's so many elements to it. It wasn't just get Levy out. There was we're not happy with this, we're not happy with that. Why do teams like Aston Villa have better recruitment than what we? It was so many layers. It got to a point where it's, do they even care about the football club? And then you get all these announcements. We're building a hotel, everyone. It's like, yeah, but the team's rubbish. What about a football team?
It's
and this is what it was.
Thing, Like more than anything with the club, it's they want to win off the field, but the ambition to win on the field just isn't there. And it just says everything you need to know. You look at Aston Villa, they ship Lange out the door. And they're now battling for top 4 every season. We've brought him in, and we're where they were 4 years ago. It's just says everything.
I think the thing that said it all to me the other day is when King Charles visited our stadium and he threw an NFL ball. That's something's gone wrong there, hasn't it?
Do you know what? That's
what's going on here.
That's what's coming next. I joke on the channel. I say it's only a matter of time before the Hotspur Hurricanes or the Tottenham Tornadoes. The NFL franchise is launched, and we're not even watching football. But look, let's get some questions, guys. All the super chats, I'll do them at the end because I want the boys to answer some questions that got put to us by email from a lot of you last week. So I want to go through that, let the boys speak about it, and then we'll do the super chats at the end. Okay. So I think the first one is, guys, you've put some media leaflets out. There's a couple that have been circulating, whatnot. One question we've had a lot is, what is the actual plan on the day? If you could just summarize it brief. Where's the meeting point? Is there a particular shop or landmark that everyone should meet at? And then where does the rally protest go to? What's the plans afterwards? Just break it down so everyone that wants to go tomorrow knows exactly how this works, guys.
Yeah, so obviously it's meeting at the crossroads between Lordship Lane. Meeting there, I'm going to be there from 2:30ish, so I'm easily noticeable. I'll be drinking beforehand and coaching horses as well for people that want to walk up a bit earlier. So we're meeting there, and what it is basically walking down towards the stadium, singing our songs. We've got media coverage from BBC, so we're going to be live on BBC News. The Athletic are covering it. TalkSport have mentioned being there. So there's going to be loads of coverage. We're walking down to the West Stand. Obviously, we're going to stand outside, make our voices heard. Obviously, we encourage everybody to be there. And it's, as you said, it doesn't matter if you don't like this person. We all want the same thing. We need to all come together as a group. Obviously, get through the game, hopefully 3 points. As much as the pressure would boil even more if we lost it. Obviously, being a Spurs fan, I want to see us win games. It's a horrible feeling being where we are at the moment as a club, but this is what it's been dragged to. After the game, remain in your seats after and protest within the stadium for as long as it takes, really. And yeah, so Bill, if you want to touch on it any further than that.
Yeah. I think that's it. Yeah. So there's two main parts of the protest. There's the march before the game and the sit-in after the game. We want to make it really vocal for the owners. We want to sing songs about the owners. Demand Levy out, Enoch out. We want to get together. Obviously, we don't want to promote any abuse or anything like that towards the ownership, because while we're really keen to sing songs that show our opinion, we don't want to cross the line, because that's when it could get unsavory. We're not encouraging those kind of scenes, but we do want people to express their opinion vocally, because people have the right to be angry and show that in whatever way they choose. We'll be meeting on the crossroads at Launchett Lane, walking down to the stadium, and then after the game we'll be sitting in. We've had a little bit of a couple of people ask about moving into the South Stand and things like that. Jay, do you want to talk about that? Because we've had an update on that, haven't we, really? Because what we were thinking of, because obviously this is the first time we've ever done this in terms of the actual stadium, and the club are aware of it. They are aware of it. We know that for a fact. So what advice would you give to people like in the seats, Jay? Because we've had a little bit of questions about moving down to the South Stand and things like that.
So I've had the club reach out to me recently, head of health and safety, and do you know what? Out of every single thing, props to him. He is a Spurs fan. He agrees with what we're doing, but he can't be. His job's obviously got to take priority. So what he's asked is just due to one. Obviously, there could be elderly fans trying to get out. So if people are trying to rush to be in the South Stand, it could cause a bit of a commotion that way. They've asked people to remain in their seats. He said, if you remain in your seats, you can stay in your seats for as long as it takes. The club are aware it's happening. But just for health and safety reasons, he's asked us to sort of push the message. Don't try to run around to the South Stand. Obviously, if you're in a corner of the South and you want to go more centrally behind goal or get into big groups, then yeah, it's understandable. But he's just being quite light. He's just basically said, keep it on the safe side and the club can't complain.
Yeah, and we know there'll be people all tuning into this from around the world at the moment, and we want to include those guys as well. So there's ways that worldwide fans can get involved as well, to send us pictures, videos, get behind the movement, and we're aiming to create a little montage. So hopefully that sums up a little bit.
How can you elaborate on that? How can fans overseas, because we've got a lot of fans from overseas that watch us that want the owners out or gone. What can they do then specifically? What is it you're asking them to do? Yeah,
so on our Twitter and on our website, we've got a couple of banners that they can print off and post with a bit of media, a bit like the pictures you showed earlier. They can also create their own. We've had some supporters in Texas already reach out. If you go on our if you go on the Change for Spurs Twitter, you'll see there's already been retweeted one of Texas Spurs supporters who have made their own flag. We encourage people to make their own flags, banners, whatever. Send us a picture. We're going to create a video montage from all across the world. We know we've got people from Australia, people from America joining in tomorrow. And just to create, this isn't just a thing Tottenham fans attending the game. Everyone across the world wants to get rid of this board and this ownership.
Just one quick question. You said Lordship Lane crosses the high road. Is that does Lordship Lane actually go onto the high road, or is it Bruce Grove that goes on the high road, where Lordship Lane goes to Bruce Grove?
Yeah, it's just where Bruce Grove and Lordship Lane cross. So it's in the corner. There's the trying to think where it is. What I can do is I'm happy to put up a map and draw exactly where it is. I've recently retweeted somebody who's done it. But yeah, so it's on the corner. Obviously, we'll put some more information out to make it a bit more pinpointed as well. There you go.
On a Change for Spurs Twitter, there's a map there. Can I send it to you still? Can I send you the map? Is that right?
Send it to me and I'll put it up. So if you're outside the stadium, you can either go walk one way towards Edmonton, the other way towards Seven Sisters. Obviously, they walk towards Seven Sisters, and then is there a particular meeting point on the high road itself?
Yeah,
further down.
So if I can just quickly have a look at what the shop is.
Yeah, take your time. Take your time.
I sent you a picture on your WhatsApp still.
Cool. I'll try and get up on the screen. All right. Whilst I'm doing that, let's go on to another question we had. Well, and I'll sort that one out. So, what is the long-term aim and goal of what it is you guys specifically want to achieve, and what kind of time frame, if there's one, on trying to achieve it?
Yeah. Obviously, for everybody involved at CFT, the long-term goal is to get the ownership out, and that includes Daniel Levy, Donna Cullen, all the way up to Joe Lewis. We want rid of them. Obviously, we know what they're like. It's constant lies. It's been the case since they've taken over. All they care about is what they're spending the money on. The thing is, it's hard to pinpoint an exact time frame. Obviously, we're going to keep going and going and going. And I mean, this won't be just we want to do it this time, and then if it doesn't turn out great, we won't go again. We want to keep it going. We want to start looking to do the other events. We want to look into it. But obviously, to put a time frame on it, you can't. You're talking billions of pounds, so it's hard to say how quickly it happens. Then again, if somebody else turns around and stumps up their asking price, it could happen. And obviously, we know the media stuff that's been coming about, the Qataris and stuff like this, that if that's happening, it's either the club putting it out or somebody signaling, we might try and push in, because we know it's a situation where the club are in dire straits as such.
Yeah, so it's difficult to put a specific time frame on it, but the more support that the protests get, I think we've seen historically that protests work. If you look at the Super League, you look at Liverpool fans, you look at Newcastle fans, if Spurs, Arsenal fans as well, if you can get those kind of numbers, that's going to drive change and hopefully drive Enoch and Levy out of this club. So, in terms of a time frame to speed it up, we need big numbers. Yeah,
that's something we said in the past. You need massive numbers. Sometimes people say, "I'll do a boycott," and I've always said, well, only if 10, 15,000 people empty the stadium. If you've got like a couple of hundred, 1,000-2,000, no one's going to care. It's not going to have an impact. So the same with the protest.
Because we get a lot of questions about, why don't you do a walkout or a boycott around the stadium? But with 65, exactly what you just said, mate. With 65,000 people, if we got 1,000 people to walk out at the same time, it would barely be noticeable. And 1,000 is a lot of people, So that's why we've decided to do a sit-in rather than a walkout. If we can generate the numbers to do a walkout, fantastic. But this is the first step tomorrow, so we'll see how it goes in the future.
Yeah. Step by step, build up the momentum. Guys, just so you know, so from the stadium, if you walk towards Seven Sisters, it's where Sports Direct is on the corner. So if we just say be near or around Sports Direct, I'm sure you're going to see a big crowd of people with T-shirts and banners, so you won't miss them.
Yeah, and we're hoping to bring our banners out as well. So if you're looking, just look for the banners basically, and T-shirts and all that kind of stuff.
What? I thought I was going to take a T-shirt off with. What time do you want everyone there, guys? What time do you want people protesting on the march to meet up?
We'll be about a bit earlier, but from 2:45 in it, Jay, and then we're going to start talking about 3 o'clock. anytime. I'll say, there'll be people around from about 2:00. We're hoping, but 2:45. We recommend people to get there. 3:00. We'll start the march. Is that right, Jay?
Yeah. Obviously, for me, the way I'm going, I'm not going to sleep tonight. I'm quite obviously excited about this, and I want it to be so big. So, but yeah, as I said, I'll be there. I'll be in Tottenham from midday, so we can go from there.
There you go. 2:45, 3:00 it starts. Sports Direct on the high road, then walking towards the stadium. What are you guys going to do? Because this is a problem that I experienced in the past. Spurs go on a winning run. So we beat Man United, we win another one, and then fans start getting excited. Oh, we might, if we can win 10 games in a row, we might sneak into 7th and get Europe. What I find is the appetite for protesting, the appetite for change, the appetite for leaving out, it very, very quickly dies off. What are your plans? Are you going to try and continue that momentum, or are you just going to say, do you know what, now's not the time?
Yeah, we want to do relentless protesting now, regardless of what happens. These owners have shown us who they are. They've been here for 25 years, and in that time, it's very clear who they are, and they're not going to make it. They're not fit to turn a football club into a consistently trophy-winning football club, and that's all we want at the end of the day. All of us, we just want a football team that consistently wins trophies. Everyone's dream is that. These owners have shown us in 25 years that they can't do that. They do not have the capability. They don't have the. They don't ever take the final step to do that. So a couple of wins is not going to change anything. It's not going to, sell us a new dream. A new manager comes in. Oh, this one might be different. These guys have been here for 25 years, and they've shown us exactly who they are. And they played the stadium card a few years ago. It's not changed anything, has it, at all? We were promised it would be a game-changing stadium. That was a card that they played, to buy them a few years of time. But if anything, for me, I think the team have got worse as we've been into the stadium. So, winning run. You look at last season, for example, we had a manager that finished 5th, which is a pretty good season. They didn't back him in the transfer window. They bought teenagers and one first-team player. And, as a result, we're having a horrendous season. These guys do not know how to take that final step into an ambitious trophy-winning football club. And then that's never going to change. And we're not going to stop until they're gone.
Wait, listening to this, where were you guys 3 years ago?
I was with you,
friend. I was there. I was on the high road of Brian, my friend.
I remember Jay. I don't remember you, Billy. I remember Jay.
Yeah. I've been there, Brian. I've been there with Billy. I've been there.
Yeah, it's what I mean. I've done a training ground. Cool. You're talking 6 years ago, 7 years ago, when the training ground was first ever done with Lee and his picket fence. So I was there for that. And then obviously with Brian, I love Brian to bits, and he is a good mate outside of Spurs as well. So I went with him for the one versus United last year.
Brian's putting a shift.
Big time. You can tell he's aged about 20 years. He's only 22.
Do you know what? There was one year he went every single day in January at the training ground. Literally, I think he did 30 days in a row or something like that, and it was freezing cold, and people doing coffee runs and that, and he was there every single day. And I said to him, mate, take a day off, take a break. He's like, no. I'm like, oh, you're going to freeze to death, man. Yeah, he's putting a shift.
Yeah. And we want to reach out to those people that have been, that have been attending those protests for all these years. All these people that have, I think a lot of people have converted in the last 2-3 years to Nick Levy out, but we want all those people that have been putting the hard yards in for years, going to that training ground, standing on that opposite that club shop in the rain, putting the flags up there every single week. People like Billy and Brian that have been doing that behind the scenes. We want everyone to be there tomorrow to really come together, because those guys have wanted it for so long, and we want to get it together.
I'll tell you what, I won't mention names because they might not want me to mention names, but there were guys protesting for 10, 15 years. Like Brian got involved.
Brian's Martin Yole was that, wasn't he?
But he wasn't protesting because he was in Canada. There was actual people protesting every game. There's about 5 or 6, diehard. We've had enough. They had enough years ago. I think they will all be a part of what you guys are doing. I don't doubt it. I think they'll all be a part of it.
And that's what I mean, man. Like this chairman, like this incompetency stretches back decades. It stretches back decades, and there's he's very much revealed what kind of chairman he is, and it's not going to change.
Yeah, listen, guys, I agree. I've been banging that drum for God knows how long. Another quick question. Are there any plans to potentially protest at non-football events, i.e. NFL, Beyonce concerts, anything like that? Are you looking to do anything like that? Or is that just, don't really want to be doing that?
Yeah, I mean, we want to look at every option that there is. Obviously, ultimately, anything that's going to make these owners uncomfortable is what we want to do. Be it if that's turning up at Beyonce away or turning up to the NFL games, we need to be making sure that constantly that we're piling this pressure on. And obviously, the one thing that's working at the moment that we've found is working is certainly this media-driven attention. Obviously, some of the work that goes into it is beyond crazy, and obviously it's the guys like your viewers, like yourself, who are sharing things wide. You're pushing the message, and obviously I'm glad now that a huge majority of people who weren't quite there with the levy out have woken up to it.
Yeah, and one of our biggest concerns, which I know everyone in the comments, yourself still probably share, is it feels like at the moment the football side is being left behind for the NFL, for the concerts and all that kind of stuff. So my personal opinion would be that protesting at those events would be a great way to fight back against that, and start putting the football club first. That's one of our biggest demands, is we want the football club to be a football club and to be treated like the football club is the main priority. Because at the moment, it really feels like it's being left to the wayside and it's rotten at the moment. So personally, I think that'd be a great, fantastic in the future. Yeah, we're definitely open to that idea.
Do you know one thing that I've often said that that I think some people just maybe they were far more patient than people like myself, was that these owners have been here for 25 years, longer than any Spurs ownership, longer than any ownership of any Premier League club. Premier League started in '92. No one's owned a Premier League club longer than this.
Century, man. Quarter of a century they've been here.
Quarter of a century, right? And they've had 25 years to say to fans, look, we can't compete with Real Madrid. We can't compete with Man United. But what we're going to do is we're going to build one of the best scouting networks. We're going to build one of the best coaching teams. We're going to build one of the best data analytics departments, one of the best youth systems. We're going to put in a philosophy from youth to academy. So from academy to first team. And through my work, I've been very fortunate. I've been to the academy many times, Hotspur way. I've seen what goes on, what doesn't go on. I've heard the moans and groans towards the chairman from them. Yeah. And in 25 years, they've just failed to put a footballing structure of excellence. And like on your banner, I've got it here. See, on your banner here, the one that caught me was 16 managers, right? It's not just, it's not just 16 managers, 7 football directors, how many different coaches, how many different systems of playing. And they've had 25 years just to build a footballing structure. And all I ever heard, guys, was, oh, but COVID. Oh, but can't you see the new stadium? Oh, but Conte was toxic. Oh, but like, guys, why do we always make these excuses? At what point do we say they could have built a footballing structure of excellence where you look, like we said earlier, there's football clubs you look at their scouting, you think, how are they scouting these players and we can't do it? And it goes back to what you said, Billy, I think. They've just not put the love and passion and energy into that the way they have for earning money, building infrastructure, marketing, putting a hotel on the training campus, building a hotel now at the outside the stadium. It's that for me is why I said I want them gone, because they've never shown they truly. And do you remember that? Was it an AGM where he was asked what's the three most greatest,
biggest, greatest?
Yeah.
And mate, the big thing that they always said was the stadium, right? We've been in the stadium for 5 years. We've had 7 managers in that time. 7 managers in the stadium. That's our last 3 seasons have finished with an interim manager. Like they have no clue how to run a football club successfully, and they haven't done for 25 years, and it's never going to change.
But you look at it as well, yeah. They could probably bring in the best property developers. They brought in the best stadium design guys. They brought in some of the best things. Anything commercial, they get the very, very best of the best. It comes round to the footballing side, and it's how can we save a penny? How can we save a pound? How can we do it away and drag it out for as long as it takes before eventually we have to break? And obviously, for me, that is a huge issue in why my support for ENIC hasn't been there for years. It always seems to be we need to go for the cheaper option. And if somebody said that I could do whatever I wanted tomorrow and they would leave, mate, honestly, I'd be standing outside that stadium probably streaking. I'd be that happy.
And the frustrating thing for me is they've put us in a position where they can compete financially with the very biggest teams across the world. You know, we all see what the revenue is. We all see what the figures coming out all the time saying we're the top 3, highest revenue driving teams across world sport and all this stuff. But they don't do it. They don't spend it. It's completely pointless. And we know where all that money goes. It goes back into the, finding the hotels and all this kind of stuff. It doesn't go into the football team. It's really, really frustrating because they've actually got us into a position where we could easily compete with the very top teams in the world. We don't do it, though.
It's spot on. I mean, who we compete with at the moment? Ipswich, Everton. I mean,
they won today. I'm getting a bit worried when they won today.
Of course, they won. Of course, why wouldn't they? So this question's been brought up a few times. Maybe it's probably one for further down the line. But what does change mean? What does that? What does? I know you're going to say. Well, you're probably going to say change is whatever you want, but surely there's got to be something a little bit more kind of zoned in as to what it means.
I mean, change for us, and I speak on behalf of everybody involved, the CFT the backlog of it. We don't want the ownership. Obviously, sometimes our message does get diluted down quite heavily to change is leave, he's staying on. I think what we're trying to mean by that is for us change, we want him gone. We need to look at a realistic short-term change that's possible. And obviously, if he was all of a sudden to bring an investor, I know Levy is never going to step away from the footballing side. He can't. He's too power hungry. He has to be the man in the middle constantly. But obviously, the near future, if he all of a sudden gets a phone call and gets told, right, you're not doing your job, we're bringing an investor in. For the short term, certainly, obviously, the Qatari links this week is, they'll keep him on for 7 years. And then obviously the 7-year plan, he goes after that. If that was a realistic thing, I think most fans, compared to not knowing when they're going to go, would take that. Would take the proposal of, he might be here for 5 to 7 years. It could be shorter. And I certainly think if he had bosses that were demanding success, that he would be told, you either bring success to this club or you're gone. So that's where it is for me. Bill?
Yeah, man. So obviously the ultimate change we want is new owners in our football club. And obviously, big picture change. We just want a successful football club. That's all everyone wants, isn't it? At the end of the day, we want a football club that we're proud of, that we go and watch and they win trophies, and we have experiences of fans that we're proud of. We don't believe Daniel Levy and ENIC can deliver that, so we want them to be gone. The reason why we get the question about what does change mean a lot. We talk about change, in the immediate short term, while Daniel Levy is a member of this football, while the owner of this football club, the chairman of this football club, we're demanding better. Like, that's the change we want to see in the immediate short term. We want a better ran football club. We want success. We paid all these high, most of us behind the scenes that change for Tottenham are season ticket holders. We pay the sky high prices like everyone does. That everyone does. That goes to Tottenham. And we're 14th in the league. We're demanding a better football club for the money that we pay. 15th in the league now, yeah.
15th now.
We're demanding a better football club, and ultimately, we want the ownership gone.
Yep, want the ownership gone. A bit off-piste, but it's a question that got put to us. Have you guys faced any resistance at all? Are there any online accounts, YouTube accounts, fans that have said, come on, guys, give it a break. This is a bit much. Or because look, obviously times have changed, but when we were protesting, it was resistance 24/7,
Yeah.
The usual, you support Arsenal, go support Man City. Then if you don't like it, you're poison, you're toxic, blah, 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 negative. Okay. Now all that lot seem to have come over. So I guess maybe it's not so negative. But do you guys face any of that? And if so, how do you kind of manage it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously,
you must not get too much of it now, because I think a lot of fans.
It's a lot less. It's a lot less than it used to be.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
During the Liverpool game, before the Liverpool game, when like obviously I only got involved with CFT at the start of December. Obviously, I was just at the stage of one person going on their own wouldn't have an effect.
What,
If we
2 months ago, Jay?
2 months ago, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, I've been leaving out for absolutely ages. Obviously, going with Brian, stuff like that. And then I thought, obviously, don't get me wrong, I don't have a massive platform. Obviously, Billy's astronomical compared to me, but I felt like if I could start having a voice on there and bring in people together, and then luckily, obviously, the guys at CFT reached out and said, look, let's try and get something going. Obviously, I was one of the guys pushing the Liverpool protest. I was there handing the balloons out and bits like this. We had people laughing at us and saying, oh, this is going to be a failure. And obviously, from there, we sort of learned. We planned to protest the next game on, and obviously the banner didn't arrive. So we had a bit of an issue with that. We couldn't do it versus Wolves. And then it come up to the Leicester game. And we had kept dead quiet. Obviously, one of the ways we've found best in working is keeping everything completely quiet. If we've got something big planned. And from there, the support from everybody has been amazing. And this includes people that over the years on Twitter have been the ones who have been, oh, you're pathetic, blah, blah. Obviously, look at what Levy's brought to this club. But yeah, even these guys are now turning around and saying, look, we see where you're coming from. Carry on doing what you're doing.
Yeah, so I've been involved in Change for Spurs a little bit longer, 4 or 5 years. I've stayed anonymous in that time because, I didn't want to sort of bring any kind of ego into it or anything like that. I just was sort of working behind the scenes. And back then, 4 or 5 years ago, when the founders started it, we got a lot of resistance, and we failed to generate much traction. To be honest with you, this season has been completely different. To be honest, the banner has been a real turning point for us in terms of media coverage and increased numbers. It's just since then it's kind of snowballed beyond sort of our wildest dreams at the moment. But I kind of feel like all of that counts for nothing unless we get serious numbers tomorrow. So I'm really hoping and praying that translates into actual numbers. But in answer to your question, I've been leaving out on Twitter for years. Obviously, Twitter is the main social media platform I use when I'm referring to it. And in that time, every time you mention it, you get quite a few comments back saying, well, think about all the good things he's done. Now, this season, that's disappeared. There's literally, you could count them on one hand, those accounts that replied to you saying, and resisted.
It's results driven, Billy. It's results driven. Honestly, results determine the mood. Okay, if the team's doing badly in the league, fans begin to turn. If you crash out of all the cups, everyone's like, right, I'm done. Yeah, I'm cashing. I'm crashing. I'm checking out. I think that's why I was asking you guys. What happens if we go on a 4 or 5 game winning streak? Because for me, it will implode at a certain stage further down the road, whether it's 2 months, 3 months at the start of next season. And that's what I've seen for 5 years. This up, down, up, down, up.
Levy is the master of playing the final card, isn't he? He said, oh, right, I'm going to, a final nail in the coffin. Right, actually, I'm going to go and get Conte in. So that'll be the one. The Mourinho comes in. And now you know what card he's going to play next. He's going to play the Pochettino card, try and get people back on board. But, Leopards don't change their spots. This has been 25 years of a poorly run football club, and no manager coming in is going to change it, But he always seems to get that sort of, as you say, the up and down momentum of a new manager comes in, new manager bounce, they're not back, and then 18 months time they're sacked. So, you can't pull the wool over our eyes anymore. It's not going to happen.
Music to my ears, I tell you. All right, let's do some questions from the audience, if you guys are all right. We'll try and do them as quick as we can, and then I'll very quickly.
So I can go for as long as we need to.
All right, nice one, Jay. Quickly, just William, Sheriff, 2 marks, Henry Fong, thanks for being channel members. Dietrich Kane, you asked what does change mean? I think the guys kind of explained it. He says, to be honest, I don't want Levy to change. I want this clown out of my club. So yeah, Dietrich, the boys did kind of touch this one before. Question here from Dr. Spurs. Who runs Change for Tottenham, and is this a political movement or a fan-run movement?
Yeah, so obviously there's a few of us involved in it. A few guys who aren't obviously on Twitter. These are guys that have been banging the drum for a while. You've got sort of me, Billy, and Lynn to put a face to it. obviously we're trying to do the spaces to introduce people to us and sort of give their opinions on it. It's completely fan run. None of us have any connection to the club other than the fact we have season tickets. So obviously the one thing that we want to push is obviously if people have ideas for it, and CFT will do everything we can to sort of put that in motion.
Yeah, and that's a key thing for me. We've stayed anonymous in the past because we don't want it to be about the individuals behind the scenes. We're keen to be an open forum for fans to come together. We don't believe there is sufficient representation at the moment. We don't believe there's a sufficient organisation with the trust and people like that represent the fans in a meaningful way. So we're just trying to be an open forum where anyone can come together, present ideas, and protest and get their voices heard. We're open to communicating with anyone. Anyone can come together. So it's a fan-led organisation, but it's not really about the people behind the scenes. It's about the movement.
There you go. Sav Cup says, welcome, Change for Tottenham. Really glad to see you all here. Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Box Office, what are the future plans after Sunday? Big up to both of you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as we've said, we don't want this to be a one-off thing. And even if the numbers aren't great tomorrow, we go again. We keep going. Obviously, the more people there tomorrow, the bigger it's going to grow and the quicker it'll grow. And for us, the future plans can be anything, as we've spoken about. It could be training ground. It could be NFL events. We just need to do absolutely everything in our power to keep this going, keep this growing, because I think at the moment, this is probably the most public it's been. Certainly, I don't think Levy can turn a sports channel on without being attacked at the moment. So it's fantastic viewing.
Yeah, and what I can guarantee is we don't have any plans set in stone at the moment, but it's going to be consistent and persistent action against the ownership of this club. And we're going to be, some of our plans we keep quiet because, as the banner we did in secret, because obviously if the club find out, they would have been stopped. But we're going to have consistent and persistent action. And we will communicate it across our official channels always. But I can guarantee you it's going to be persistent and it's going to be consistent.
I like that. Persistent and consistent. You got a strap line that one. Put it on a t-shirt. Persistent and consistent. Did you hear a news story this evening that Daniel Levy's not going to be at the game tomorrow because he's in America? Is this true, or is this just a bit of kind of spin?
It's not. It's I was duped by it as well. It's from
it went into our group chat as well.
It's the it's not real. It's made up from one of these spoof accounts. Obviously, the timing of it was impeccable because I was absolutely livid looking at my phone. I was thinking it's such a Levy move, isn't it? But no, it's not true. And the likelihood is, do you know what? Even though we're protesting, it'll probably feed his ego that he might be on a few cameras.
Yeah. Stel, can I ask you, obviously, the big news story at the moment? What are your opinions on this guitar thing? Do you think there's actual legs behind it, or is it just we kind of get the impression it might be sort of a distraction story? What do you reckon?
Yes, I've got off the top of my head 3 things. Number one, as we close into season ticket renewal time, there's always some kind of
transfer stories come out.
Yeah, because last year it was Amanda Staveley, wasn't it? And now it's Qataris. It's almost like, okay, well, just maybe I should keep my season ticket because there's change coming up. So that plays on my head. The other thing is, I do think there's interest. I do think there's interest in the club. I do believe it, because Daniel Levy did a Bloomberg interview where he said there's always interest from the Far East, Middle East, America. He's always getting interest, but it's whether he thinks it's what's best for the club, which is code for if it works for me and Joe, we'll do it. It's not about us. What I'll say is this though: if you value a club at £4 billion, why would you buy it? You could put that 4 billion in the S&P 500 or buy some Bitcoin, right? If that's your thing, and you could probably get a 10% return and get back £400 million a year without doing work. Just park it, sit, earn the money. So for you to go and put £4 billion into a club and then run it and then have the stress when things don't go right and the fans turn against you and then having to compete with clubs for success and building systems and protocols for the football team. In my head, why would you do that unless you can see a potential to make more money? So it's going to be a money investment. Where's the incentive for football? And also, I think the price is too high for anyone to come in, unless it's just a vanity project like Abramovich. I just want to be the best and win all the trophies and
unicorn, isn't it? That's a unicorn type situation.
Yeah.
And I mean,
So
you look at PSG, for example. Obviously, these are the guys
50-50.
that are rumored to be wanting us. The thing is, it seems like in France, commercially and league-wise, they're quite dry on what money they can raise. Whereas you look at us, and although for us football fans, the hotel is just it's a shocking idea. If you think about it, for somebody looking to invest, they're thinking land rents are going to go up. Obviously, we can increase revenue. Not only can we obviously bring this money in for the footballing side, but we have the F1. So there's loads of ways, and especially like the naming rights, it's an absolute farce that ain't been organised yet. I mean, you're sitting there, you're looking at something that could generate 200 million a year for a club, or 150 million over 3 years, sorry, and they're not doing it. So for me, obviously, as you boys said, there's probably legs behind it. There is probably people asking the question, but
100%.
again, the goalposts will get moved. We know what the situation will be. That somebody will stump up the valuation, and it'll be, we want an extra 500 million.
It's like the naming rights, man. We've been in the stadium for 5 years now. I'm sure there's interest in that as well, but we know the price is too high. The expectations are too high, and there's never been a deal made in this 5 years. We're in a nameless stadium 5 years into it, so it's the same thing.
The thing is, okay, I don't mind if Levy and Enoch make billions, millions, trillions. If a new owner comes in and they just want to make as much money as they can, I've got no issues with that at all, as long as we're not sacking a manager 5 days before a cup final. As long as when you've got a good manager here who says, look, I need to rebuild this, you rebuild it, you give him a chance rather than sacking it, because he's proven his worth. I've got no problem with them making money if they're signing Eze, not Timo Werner. If they're signing players that we can say, do you know what, I can get excited by this. I can see where this is going. If the decisions for football were good, because there's no guarantees we'll win trophies, but you can see good football decisions where you think, do you know what, they're giving it a go. I don't mind how much money they make. The problem is they make money and the football decisions are just a joke. It's just constant. It's just constant Mickey Mouse decisions. You think, do you even care? Like, are you interested in this?
And one of the things I find most frustrating about Levy is, like, he's an incredibly clever bloke. There's no denying it. But
smart.
The thing that he's never realised is consistent success drives more revenue, drives more sponsorship. So, and he's never taken that final step to that ambition to go and do it. And I just think, if we were consistently in the Champions League every year, winning trophies, our revenue would be even higher than it is now. I've never understood why he hasn't got that sort of want to make it a real successful trophy-winning football club.
Billy, it's risk. It's risk. Why would you risk?
Yeah, it's a risk.
Going for that in the hope that you can make that extra money when you can just do the bare minimum and you're guaranteed a certain amount of money? It's the risk appetite. That's why the wage bill is the way it is. It's risk appetite. They could increase the wage bill to attract better players, but then do they want to increase the risk profile of the finances to do it? And the answer is they just haven't got the risk appetite for it.
And if you look
that's
at
how I see it.
He's an incredibly risk-averse businessman. He's very rarely, if ever, taken a risk with Tottenham. It's always kept it steady. We've built up ethically from the ground up, our revenue, but that final risk, which is, and then at the end of the day, it's that risk which drives success and trophies, and he's never done that.
Yeah, you've got to roll the dice some point.
And we've never rolled the dice.
Some more questions here. Snilla, thank you. A really important thing for the board is their image with the capital markets and the financial institutions. This is a great step to get the exposure in the media. Good luck tomorrow. Sophie, if we have a bounce in running games and the momentum gets lost, have you guys thought about a strategy to avoid a drop-off? I think she means a drop-off from people behind the cause, as this is something that's failed before. We kind of touched this before. Is there a plan in place, or is it kind of you assess it as you go along?
I mean, if you look at it logically, 100% we go on a 5-game, 6-game winning streak. We go through to the next round of Europa League. It's realistic that some fans will drop off. I think there's a lot of fans that have fully woken up to it, knowing that come the summer again. I mean, our left side of the defence has been crying out for players. It's been neglected. I think people have fully woken up and decided, like, they've just finally had enough. So for us, it's just all about pushing our message, obviously keeping the awareness there. And the one thing that is important is keep engaging with everybody. Obviously, if people see the message you're trying to push, then a lot of people stick behind that message and really try and drive it home for you.
I'd be very surprised if we get to a point now where a few wins changes people's mind anymore, because 25 years of this now, consistently poor results, poor football management. So a few wins changes nothing for me.
I'm not telling you guys what to do, but if Spurs get to Europa semi-final, I think people back off. That's my personal thought. Because it's just, for me, results really does drive it. I think it's such a results-driven emotion with our fans. But because I've seen the roller coaster up, down, and I always know the wheels will come off. Give it another 6 months, give it another year, the wheels will come off. I've just completely checked out from it. Maybe the wave of fans that have joined with wanting to change, maybe they'll be what you just said, Billy, and say, do you know what? Maybe they see through it. Maybe they think, nah, I'm done. I can't be bothered to wait anymore. Patience is gone, and see what happens. Question from It's My Face. What is the end goal for change for Tottenham? How long do you plan to go on for? I think you said until they're gone or something.
Yeah, until they're gone. I mean, for me personally, and obviously I can't speak for every single person, but for me, I'd keep beating this drum until my eyes pop out my head. Obviously, for me, I'm quite unfortunate. I'm emigrating to Australia in 4 years' time. We're just waiting on visa approval, but I can promise now on my behalf, I'll be doing it non-stop until it happens, or till I eventually make the jump, and then I'll be making a 24-hour flight home.
I think you said it earlier, Stel, actually, until we're supporting a football club that make consistently good football decisions, that's all, that's what we want. And I don't believe this owners will ever deliver that. And we'll keep fighting until we get a football club that delivers long-term success. And by success, we mean trophies, not just finishing the top four.
So let me get this right. You're going to get leaving ENIC out, and as soon as you get them out, you're leaving the country.
Did
you just say that?
Yeah, I don't. It sounds crazy, but for me, like, one of the main reasons I take my little boy to the games. He asks to come to games, and I go there. In fairness, with him with me, I think we've beaten Man City twice. We've beaten United. We've had good luck with him being there, but ultimately, it's a life decision for me, just to get out there and sort of give my kids a better shot at having a bit more of an outdoorsy life and getting off their iPads. They seem to live on it. So, but for me, I'll be driving it there, and obviously I'll be back to visit my family quite often. So I'll certainly be going to games when I'm back.
Sun, sea, Tottenham High Road, Sun, sea. Yeah, okay. Do you know what? By the time you go back, Ange will be back there as well.
Exactly that, man. I was just about to say, follow Ange in the next club.
Oh my Lord. Another question here from All Things Trucking. If Ange is sacked, will you continue to bring the noise despite the attempt by the board? Like you said, they'll probably try and play the Poch card. Will you still keep it going?
Yeah.
That'll be 8 managers in the new stadium. That can't run.
I think obviously a big part of why Ange hasn't gone. Obviously, for me, I can't say that I'm fully behind Ange, regardless of the injuries. The 18 months that he's had since Chelsea last year haven't been acceptable. And I get we've had injuries. But again, this is where my anger falls more with the board and not bringing in players that he needed than anything. But yeah, sacking Ange at the moment, I think it will only rise frustrations. I think a lot of fans will Ange, believe it or not, for some reason, has a lot of supporters. Don't get me wrong, for me, he hasn't earned the support that he's getting. But at the same time, I think if he goes, a lot of fans will be even more angry at the fact that the board's just thrown another manager under the bus.
I think there's been a shift, to be honest, with Ange, because I don't think Ange is possibly the most deserving manager of this shift. But in the fact that where he is in the chain of managers, people are done with all this chopping and changing managers now. And I think this is the first time where fans are going to be like, if you get rid of the man, even the players keep coming out and saying it, don't they? You had people like Romero and Kulusevski alluding to it. You can't just keep sacking and firing managers every 18 months. It has to stop somewhere. I'm not necessarily, I don't think Ange has shown enough to deserve that he deserves to be the guy that gets the long-term project. Certainly have quite poor results at the moment, but I think it's just where he falls in the chain, man. This is the 7th manager in the new stadium. We had 4 or 5 managers in the last 2-3 years. Stellini and all that, that we've been going through. It has to stop somewhere, and I think we've reached a tipping point now with fans, and you can't play this trick anymore.
Yeah, it is. It is at the tipping point. I can't remember who once said it. Everyone's got their breaking point. It feels like there are a lot of fans that have reached that breaking point.
I think this is the season where that's tipped.
We Are Spurs TV says, why don't we get a Tottenham fan to print black T-shirts with big white print that says "Leave it"? A bit like the balloons that were thrown on the pitch a couple of years ago. We could give some of the proceeds to the seniors who had their concessions cut. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, Save Our Seniors will be joining our march tomorrow as well, so big up to them.
Who's joining?
Yeah,
who's joining the march?
Save Our Seniors. Save Our Seniors is going to be there.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea, and obviously, financially at the moment, we are self-funded. Obviously, we're all just chipping in to get these bits sorted. Obviously, it's certainly ideas that we can look at for the future, and obviously, we encourage fans, if they want to have their own tops made up and sort of get them out, the more the better. And obviously, the one thing that we know a lot of people will be picking up, taking their photos, and tomorrow, if there's people wearing Leave It Out shirts, obviously, you guys had the shirt made up as well. Like that, it just further pushes the message that fans are fully done with the ownership. So yeah, it's a great idea for us. Just at this stage of where we're at financially, we don't want to be sort of taking money from people and then it not being clear where it's going.
Yeah, that's been a real consistent thing. A lot of people have got in touch saying, how can they donate to the cause? We're not taking donations because, we feel like once you start doing that, we don't want to lose people's trust saying, where's the money going? Are you generating profits? We want fans to be able to spend their money on their own things like T-shirts, banners, all that kind of stuff. We think once you start taking donation from fans, it could start to be perceived as getting a bit murky. So we're completely self-funded at the moment.
Yeah, you're going to need some governance in place if you're going to start taking money for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. We're just fan-led at the moment.
Yeah. This question's come up twice again. Who runs Change Tottenham? There's no names or contacts on the website. This needs to be seen so that fans know who they're working for. And then there's one here from Fullworks who says, what is the thinking behind remaining anonymous? It comes across as suspicious for a lot of people. We need clarity. Do you know what, guys? What I would say on this is, for some people that are like first time protesting or first time getting involved, do you not think it's probably wise to just say, look, we're the ones behind it, we're organising? Because some people might want to do their due diligence. They might want to know that there's no wrong uns involved or there's no shady people. Like, do you not think it's wise?
I can definitely speak on that because I was I've been in it for 4 or 5 years. At the beginning, I was anonymous. The reason why we remained anonymous at the beginning is we didn't want any egos attached to it. We didn't want it to be seen as we're the guys that are driving this change. We're doing this, and this. We didn't want we want it to be a completely ego-free movement. It's just a platform for the fans to come together. We've rightfully had questions saying, who are you guys? And pit suspicions, as the question mentioned, which is why it's completely all out in the public now. We do our weekly spaces on a Wednesday and a Sunday, Jay. The last space that we did was Heidi, Jay, myself, Lyndon, Billy's C was on there as well. And we're trying to use those spaces as a chance to get to know everyone behind the movement. So I recommend if anyone's unsure who's behind, look into those spaces on Twitter. It's not a secret or anything like that. We are now public facing. There's a few of us, like myself and Jay in particular, that and a few other guys like Al, who's behind the scenes as well, who's been on a podcast recently, that are facing the media with the podcast and things. But we're not hiding our identities or anything like that. Now there's Lyndon, the founder, who was on the space as well. So I recommend people to join into those spaces. Jay, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, tomorrow is going to be a fantastic chance to actually.
And we're all going to be there as well, yeah.
We're all going to be there tomorrow. So it's going to be a good way for people to turn around and say, look, who is it? And we plan tomorrow to all be there, meet everybody. Obviously, for me and Billy, we've been quite public in being behind CFT. Obviously, we've done the TalkSport interviews. We've done podcasts. There's other people as well who aren't necessarily involved in X as much, if that makes sense. And we're just trying to bring everybody in so people can understand who we are.
But yeah.
So for those fans that don't have X, or because not everyone is on
Yeah.
X nowadays because it's changed a bit.
Yeah.
Could you say now like who the names are, who's the team, so people know that aren't on Twitter? Can you do that or?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that happily. So there's Lyndon, who founded the organization. There's Heidi, who deals with a lot of our communication. There's myself and Jay. There's Roops. There's Al. Who am I missing, Jay? Christina
Roops,
behind the scenes as well.
Yeah. Sorry, my little girl's my mouse is upstairs. My little girl's touching it. 1 second. Sorry, I don't want it to close the stream.
Yeah, let me just make sure I get all the names as well. Yeah, we're just fans. There's a guy called Brian as well. Not Brian de Gaulle, a guy from Ireland called Brian. Yeah, we're just season ticket fans. A guy called Guards as well. A guy called Chaz. Just 10 match going fans. There's about 10 or 11 of us in total. No secrets, no hidden identities or anything like that. We're very happy to chat to people. Reach out to us if you want to know more. Yeah, we're not hiding behind anything. We're not secretive. The reason why we did it in the past, like I said, is we didn't want any egos attached to this. So yeah, that's it.
Why them? How did you all find each other? How did you all come together?
Just from like going to games together, to be honest, mate, and sort of a lot of the people like Heidi and Lyndon and a few of the original founding members go home and away Tottenham, and they just got chatting and things like that. Similarly to what you were talking about earlier of how you and Brian saw each other. I think we've been constantly asking for Levy out for the number of years, and I think naturally you sort of tend to find each other online, don't you, and kind of see. Yeah, I completely agree with that opinion, especially when the voices are a bit more spread out and few and far between. I think we sort of come together because we shared a common message, but mainly just from going matches and just turning up at the pubs and away days and things like that. That's about it, really. How would you say we found each other, Jay? Just sort of consistently doing having the same opinion.
Yeah. Obviously, for me, I've been for the last couple of years. I think most of my messages are Levy out, and obviously for these guys to reach out and sort of say, look, come get on board. It's been fantastic to be involved in it, and obviously the one thing that's helping is everybody feels the same way, and we just don't want this ownership anymore. So yeah, it's been good because obviously it's built some good relationships as well.
I think as more people get to know, like let's just call it your team, as more people get to know the team, I think you'll make a lot more people comfortable and find it a more approachable thing to go to, because there are people that just don't want to protest. They have concerns over it, even if it is peaceful and that they just think it's not for me. So I think as people get to know you more and more, for sure, it would encourage more people to get involved. That's what I think. I could be wrong on that. It's just my view on it. So.
Yeah, and I completely take that on board. And we, I think we did remain anonymous when we first started, but the more questions we got, we've decided to come away from that. So yeah, that's sort of why.
Got a cracking question here from Lily White Lane, goes by the name of Robbie. Are you expecting any counters from the club, i.e. removing the banners in the stadium?
Jay is definitely the man to answer this one.
Right. So obviously after the Leicester game, very quickly after the Leicester game, the club got in touch with me. Got a phone call from the head of their health and safety team. Really understanding bloke, and a lot of credit goes to him. He's been working with us to make sure everything's above board on what we can do in regards to banners. So we've got everything through the correct sort of loopholes and everything that they needed to make sure that they could go through. So the banners can't be removed from the stadium, pending, obviously, they're not offensive. And we know a lot of fans have some very, very artistic, let's just say artistic flags, but we have to be very, very careful on what's taken in. Obviously, if we've got the club, sorry, it's not the club directly, it's the stadium working with us and sort of willing to allow us to share our voices and our opinion, the main thing is we stick to sort of the guidelines that they're asking us to, because at the end of the day, the guys at the stadium are just trying to do their job more than anything. But yeah, so we're fully aware, we've been told as well by the club that they are watching a lot of things that we're doing just to keep an eye on things. So as far as we're aware, we should be all good to go tomorrow and make sure that there's no sort of restraint from the club on it.
Got a big super chat here. Mike, you didn't need to do that, buddy, but thank you so much. This is actually a big question for you guys. I think it's more of a permission. I didn't have a ticket, but I'm coming to the protest with camera gear to make a mini documentary which I will make freely available afterwards. I'd like to do some short interviews if that's okay. Please come over to see me. If anyone that doesn't know, Mike came to a lot of the protests in the past. Guys, you all right with that? If he comes along, does a mini documentary, interviews fans, shares it with everyone after?
That sounds incredible, man. We'd be very, very happy to do that. We're happy to sort some interviews as well. Please reach out to us, or we'll reach out to you. That'd be incredible. That sounds, and that's the kind of thing what we're talking about with Change for Tottenham. It's not about what we do; it's about things like that. People coming together, adding their own thing to it. That's what we want it to be. We want it to be people filming things, adding things, bringing their own stuff to it. We don't want it to be about the things that we're doing behind the scenes. We want it to be about the things that we're doing together. So yeah, man, that sounds well good, doesn't it, Jay?
Yeah, and obviously I've just had a WhatsApp of somebody. He's basically asked me to say as well, after the protest, obviously for the guys that do want to be there answering questions, not everybody has come into the protest tomorrow will have a ticket for the game. So the one thing I want to be clear on is, even if you haven't got a ticket, come protest tomorrow. But yeah, as for the interviews, I'm more than happy to, obviously, Stel, if you want to give him my details, if you got them, I'm more than happy to have a chat with him and sort of give my view on it.
Well, look, guys, you know what Jay looks like, you know what Billy looks like. Go and find them at some point. I'm sure they'll be near the front. Mike, you're not a shy individual. He's quite open, chatty guy. Mike, just find Billy and Jay and introduce yourselves, right?
It's been cool because we've had a few video editors reach out to us, haven't we, Jay? We put a couple on Twitter.
Yeah.
Brian's doing some as well. I love stuff like that, man. I think it's a really good way of spreading the message. Everything nowadays is all about going viral and social media and stuff, and we think video content is really powerful for that. So any video editors that are up for putting a message against the board in some kind of crazy video format, reach out and do it. We'd be very happy to support it.
Reach out to the boys if you are a video editor. NAP says, how are you going to appeal to the fans who will support the club irrespective of results, manager, players and owners? Can those fans even be not converted, but are these fans ever going to just take action ever?
I think you're always going to get people that think the sun shines out of Levy's backside. I think that's the truth. Unfortunately, we're doing everything we can. Obviously, one of the main reasons we sort of elaborate definitely on peaceful is because of past, there has been some more sort of vocal protests. And obviously from that, people, if we're saying it's peaceful and we're making our voices heard, we're singing our songs, it might encourage people that might go, do you know what? They're doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it the correct way. Obviously, so many people can use certain things to beat you with it. And if you do it sort of in a peaceful manner, then nothing can be thrown back at you to say, oh, you've not done this, you've not done that. And I think that will naturally grow a few people that are starting to grow frustrated at the league position and sort of the state of the club.
And I think there's an interesting delineation there. That question says about supporting the club. First and foremost, we support the team, and I don't think supporting the club and supporting the team are the same thing. Because on Sunday, I'm going to be very angry. We're all angry about the ownership. When that whistle blows at the start of the game, we're all supporting the team. That's what that's our job as fans, isn't it? Which is why we've decided not to have any sort of protest going on during the game itself. So I think we're always going to be supporting the team and supporting the players, but we're not going to be supporting the ownership and the club in inverted commas.
As we used to say, support the team, not the regime. That was the slogan. Exactly. I don't know who coined it. I copied it. So, yes. I never made it up. THFC till I die. What can an Irish fan do to help?
I got something on that one.
Obviously, I'll give my part on it. Obviously, Irish fans, we've had quite a few people. Today I've been sent banners and bits from people in Cork and Derry that can't get over here. So obviously one thing is similar to international fans, just get your banners made, get your shirts made, and obviously keep voicing your opinion, especially on, say, for example, every time Spurs post, make sure you comment your opinions on there about how this club's being run.
Yeah, two things on that. Firstly, I just want to shout out a guy called Jace Lee, one of my mates in Ireland. He sent this tweet yesterday. I can't really see it on my phone, but he said, can't make over to United home this weekend. His name's Jace L. 2022 on Twitter if you want to search for it up. Can't make it over to the United home game this weekend, but firmly behind what Change for Spurs are trying to do for fans, how they're going about it. Hopefully next game I'm at the season, and he's posted a picture of him and his son holding up a Our Club, Our Voice printable banner that we've got on our website, just up in his house. That's a great way of doing it. I know Brian, we spoke about Brian a lot today. Brian is planning something special. I would recommend any overseas fans to check out his account tomorrow. He's got some plans for, obviously he's supporting us from Canada. Check out his Twitter tomorrow because he's got some plans as well that we support. He's got a great idea on something that we can do online as well. So I'd recommend all World Wild fans check out Brian Deggle's Twitter account, and we've retweeted it on Change for Spurs because he's got a great idea that we're going to launch tomorrow, which we're going to keep quiet about until it happens.
And big up the Scotland Yard, as Brian likes to push.
I've actually been to the Scotland Yard on a match day. I went over to Canada and I met Brian. I was over there for a bit. It's a lively pub, I tell you. Yeah. The best place I've been overseas is Minneapolis Spurs. They are freaking nuts. They're absolutely bonkers. They've got this guy called the Reverend. He comes up on the stage and he does this pre-match ceremony. He goes, "Beloved Tottenham fans, are you ready?" And they're like, "Yeah." What the hell is this? Right? They're nuts. And
I think that echoes like what we say though. Like international fans are just as passionate as us guys that I say lucky to live sort of close to the stadium. Some of these guys are putting in serious dough for their one opportunity to come here, and obviously they deserve better just as much as we deserve better. So, but yeah, obviously Brian's banged on about Scotland Yard. I'm quite lucky. I only ever go over to like the Irish bars when I go over to Ireland and bits like that. So yeah, it's good. But
mate, Scotland Yard and Toronto Spurs and Minneapolis Spurs are outstanding, like real top stuff. If you're a Spurs fan in those countries, you will not be disappointed. There was another question here from Mike Pepper.
Oh, sorry, man. Someone's just asked in the chat. They're a Spurs fan in Minneapolis. Where do they find those guys? Someone just put.
Oh, the best thing is go on the Spurs website, go to supporters clubs, and then there's a list of who to contact, emails, where to go, and that's what I did. I was in Minneapolis for work, and I went and found them. And best day, man, best day. They do this thing as well. If they win, they smuggle in this liquor called Malard. It's the most disgusting thing you've ever had in your life, and they all take a shot of Malard if Spurs win, and they're all like, "Ugh." What kind of ritual is this?
Luckily, that they must only get pissed once a month then. The way we're playing at the moment.
Yeah, no one's drinking Malard in Minneapolis. No one's drinking Malard at the moment. Mike Pepper, he says, "Do you think Levy is feeling any pressure right now?"
Did you guys see that BBC article yesterday? Well, that was an interesting one. What do you reckon of that, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, if there's any way to prove that he's feeling the pressure, he's putting out the sympathy cards. "Oh, I've tried my best. I'm not comfortable." And obviously this could full well be Donna Cullen trying to take some heat off of him. Of course it's bothering him. And I mean, big up to the away boys who go home and away every single week. I mean, our away fans, since you're talking, what was it, early November, it has been so loud, so vocal on every single screen that fans are done with it. So I think there is an element of truth in what came out yesterday from the BBC, and this is exactly why we need to keep going. We need to make this bloke uncomfortable. We need him to think, right, I've got to go. But again, nobody tells a billionaire what to do they? So
yeah, I think there's two possible possibilities for that. I think it could generally be getting to him. There's another part of me which thinks he just doesn't care at all. Just doesn't care at all. And I'm, I wouldn't be surprised if he just doesn't care that. But I hope it's getting to him because it's been getting to us for 25 years. So he deserves to know how that feels.
Yeah, no sympathy. He earns 3.5 million a year, highest paid chairman, and all that. And we've cash rolled, we've cash flowed the whole thing. Two Marks, thank you for being channel member. Guy Thompson, I think this is the last question, guys, of the night, I think. Decentralized movements are a lot more robust due to the fact detractors cannot target certain people using personal attacks. I will be there. So there you go. You got support there tomorrow.
Great. Thank you. See you there.
Just seeing if anyone else has got a question or... to be honest, guys, I think we've covered an awful lot.
Yeah.
So
great chat. It's been a great chat, to be honest.
There's one right here at the end. Time for change. Respect for coming on. Wish Levy had your balls. There you go. Yeah, guys, look, if you want to say something to wrap it all up, and we can call it a night, and see how many tomorrow turn up and what happens.
I mean, from me, I just want to say, obviously, we appreciate the chance to be on it and sort of especially speak to your guys who listen in every single week. We just want to say thank you. We hope, obviously, this movement suits in with what everybody wants. At the end of the day, change can happen in many different sort of aspects. For us, change is these guys going, because we know, obviously, a leopard don't change their spots. It might change them for 6 months, but we know eventually it's going to happen all over again. And I think now is the real time to step on it and really, really try and drive these guys out.
Yeah, man, completely echo that. I just want to say thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk. It's been a great chat. And, whatever happens tomorrow is just another step on the list. Some people have been on this walk for years, as we mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show. And it's just going to be the beginning. Hopefully, we're going to keep going, going to keep pushing until we get what we want, which is Daniel Levy and Enoch removed from our football club. We can't do that without serious numbers and support. So this is a call to everyone. If you're on the fence, please come down. We need as many people as we can get. We all do. And I was going to keep echoing the fact that it's not about change for Tottenham. It's about Tottenham fans. We need to come together and do this together. We've got this huge momentum at the moment, but it'll count for nothing unless we get those numbers. So I hope to see everyone there.
Listen, I echo what you guys have said. I want to say a big thank you to Billy and Jay for coming on tonight. I think this is going to really help. We've got a bigger audience. People are going to watch this, and they will definitely turn up and back it. Yes, this week things have been said, things have happened. All I ask is people online, people in the chat, Billy, Jay, a lot of conversations have been had the last 2 days. A lot of things have been discussed, all ending in a good nature, going in the right direction. I had a 45-minute Zoom chat with Ricky Sachs as well. So, guys, I hope everyone is coming together. I really do. Put differences past behind and focus on the end game, because for me, I feel there's an avenue now, and that's all I've ever wanted, guys. That's all I've ever wanted.
As it is. If every single platform comes together, and I mean everybody, this movement will grow that big that it won't stop. Obviously, we just need to now keep it all clear. We need to all communicate, and we need to keep driving this same message home that we want Enoch out. And that starts from everybody at board level.
Yeah, totally agree. One last one from Mari. Big up panel from Cancun, Mexico. I will be protesting with you. Leave you out, Enoch out. Fantastic to hear.
Yeah, we love that worldwide support, and that really means a lot from everyone across the globe.
There you go. Jay, Billy, thanks for coming on, boys.
Thank you for having me.
No doubt we'll have to do another show at some point in the future. And maybe we'll talk a bit more about football and maybe a title charge, if allowed. Yeah. Maybe one day. Who knows?
In the championship, maybe. When we're in the championship next year, I'll see you there.
Europa League final.
Yeah. Then we get relegated after the Europa League final. Guys, thanks for coming on. Appreciate everyone in the chat as always. I think all your questions got answered. Remember, tomorrow, Stadium, up the high road towards Seven Sisters, Sports Direct. That's where everyone's going to be meeting. Get there, 2:45, and let's make some noise, people. We're out of here. Look after yourselves. Take care.
Cheers, boys.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away.